Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca Rice and I teach family photographers to gain a life of freedom through a thriving photography business. In today's video, I am sharing with you my posing cheat sheet. So this is going to help you really get a good head start the next time that you are in a photo session wondering what to do next. This is my cheat sheet for you. Let's dive in. Now, before we get into all the awesomeness of the posing cheat sheet, I wanted to let you know about a free posing class that I have for you guys that it's called The Keys to Effective Family Posing. Say goodbye to awkward and stiff. So if, obviously get through this video, and if you want to dive even deeper into posing, that class is completely free and it's a great way to continue, just learning and growing in your posing. So if you feel like posing is one of your weakest links, or you feel like you need to freshen things up and find a way to not feel awkward and have your clients not feel awkward and stiff, this class is for you. So it's linked below. You can go check it out, get signed up, and it's completely free. And I know it's going to help you so much. All right, let's get into my posing cheat sheet. Basically, this is a workflow that I use in every single photo session, whether it's a mini session, a full session, maternity, or anything that has like a family involved. I use this posing workflow just to keep things running smoothly. It helps me not have to wonder what to do next and make sure that I don't ever forget important must-have shots. I know early on, before I started using a posing workflow, I was that person who would stall trying to think of what to do next and come up with poses, or I'd be in my car, I'd get there 30 minutes early and be scrolling Pinterest for pose ideas. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then of course we'd get to the session and I'd forget half of them. It was just not the best. Or I would forget a really important shot. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't get a shot of just mom and her babies. How did I forget that? And so having this posing workflow in place, it really transformed the way that I, entered into my sessions, knowing that I wasn't going to forget anything. I had a new level of confidence, and that's what I want for you. So if you don't currently use a posing workflow, get ready to take notes because I want you to steal mine. Use my posing workflow. I'm telling you, it's just going to give you a new level of confidence, and, your clients are going to feel that too. And so I'm going to share with you my posing workflow that I use for every single session. So we start off every session with the whole family together. This is great, especially if there's younger kids involved, because I don't want them to feel nervous or wonder what to do, especially if they're a little more timid. This gives us a chance to get the whole family together so they can see how our mom and dad interacting, the camera's not so scary, things like that. And so we start with the whole family together, usually in one of my base poses, which you can learn about in my free posing class. But we start with the whole family together, kind of get people warmed up, give them a chance to get a feel for me if we've never met before, and really give the kids an opportunity to get settled in. From there, I move on to just mom and the kids. So I will have dad step behind me. Don't have him step to the side because the kids are then going to look over that way. So I have him come behind me so that the kids are looking my direction, and we have just mom and the kids together. From there, we move into just dad and the kids. So I have them swap, and we'll do, dad and the kids, and mom is behind me. And then we move into the kids all together. So I will pull both mom and dad out, and I will do all of the kids bunched up together. And this, we can get some candids, we get posed, photos. There's lots of different variety that we can get, but I want to make sure that we have some shots of just the kids, because I know as a mom, I love the photos of just my two kids together. One of my favorite photos that we have that has ever been taken is my two kids with their faces squished together, and they're so cute. They have the sweetest little smiles, and I just treasure that. And so I want the family to have photos like that of just the kids. From there, we split off into the kids individually. Okay, so we will do, let's say they have 3 kids. I will ask who wants to go first, and usually somebody will raise their hand. If not, I typically go like youngest to oldest. If the youngest is feeling timid, I'll go oldest to youngest. I like to try to start with the youngest because a lot of times they are kind of starting to feel antsy at this point. They're a little less cooperative, so I want to try to get them done and let them go take a break while I'm doing the other kids. But if they do feel timid, then I'll start with the oldest first so that they can see that it's not scary and it's okay. And so I like to get a full body shot of each kid and like a cropped, more headshot kind of style look for every single kid so that mom can have her pick of what she wants to print off or, put wherever, however she wants to use them. From there, if I have time, I'll do just mom and each kid and just dad and each kid. A lot of times with younger kids or families that have tons of kids, we don't really have time to do this one. But if we do have time, it's a great one so that the family has something to post on like birthdays and things like that. I know for me and my mom, for some reason, we just don't have very many pictures of just the 2 of us. And so that's something that I like to give families is the opportunity to have an individual photo with each kid and their parent. And so this is especially great with older kids because they're the ones that have social media usually. So it gives them something to post of just a picture of them and dad or them and mom. So if we have time, I throw that in there. By this point, I can kind of gauge and see like how we're doing, if we're taking more time. If not, I leave this step out, but it's something that I like to offer if we do have time. Now, from there, we will go into the whole family together again. Now, the reason that I do the whole family together again is because by now, everybody has really loosened up. They are a lot more comfortable with me. A lot of times, their like normal personality is starting to come out. And the kids, if they were kind of shy at the beginning, a lot of times they're really opening up at this point. So I'll do the whole family together again. I do different base poses, so it's not necessarily a copy and paste of how we started, but I'll do some variations. Like maybe if we did a bunch pose at the beginning, we'll do a line pose with everybody walking this time. Or if we did standing poses at the beginning, we'll do sitting poses now. So give them some extra variety, but it also just gives a chance to get some extra photos done while everybody's a lot more comfortable. So we'll do the whole family together again. And then I like to do just mom and dad. This one is really important to me because a lot of times, like you'd be surprised how many families that I talk to when I say, hey, can we get some of just mom and dad? They tell me that the last time that they had photos of just the 2 of them was at their wedding. I'm like, that is too long. Like you deserve to have your love documented. And so let's get mom and dad out there just by themselves. Now, a lot of times photographers ask me, well, what happens if there's a baby that like can't just walk around? What do you do? So if they have a little baby, I will often ask if they feel comfortable with me holding their baby while we do just mom and dad, because I am a mom, I have 2 kids. I'm used to having a kid on my hip while shooting. Like that's something that happens just around my house. And so if they feel comfortable, then I will do that. If they don't, no worries at all. I let them know, okay, no problem. If I have a blanket, I'll see if we can put the baby down on the blanket. If not, then we just won't get pictures of just mom and dad. But a lot of times we find a way to make it work. Now I will say, if you're in a location that is a little more dangerous or there's like hazards around, please keep a really close eye on the kids. Give them some kind of boundary of like, don't go over here, stay where I can see you, whatever. Because when I'm doing just mom and dad, a lot of times kids like to just wander and it stresses me out a little bit because I can't watch them. I'm taking the pictures. Mom and dad are focused on me. So there's not really anybody with 100% attention on the kids. And so like, I remember one time I was shooting in Arizona and there were cactus everywhere. And I was freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody is going to fall into a cactus or they're going to fall off this, hill. It really stressed me out. And so we had the kids sit down. I like drew a circle on the ground and I said, sit right here and please don't move. Like don't move. And you can make it into a game where whoever stays there the stillest or the quietest or whatever gets a prize. Maybe that you have like gummies or something. I don't know. Whatever, hopefully the parents brought like bribe candy or something. You can make it into a little contest, but having them somewhere where they're not just wandering at least helps me have a little bit more peace of mind while I'm photographing mom and dad. And then the last thing that I end with is I always ask my family is there anything else you want me to capture? I tell them I've got everything on my list, but if they have anything, now's the time. Now I make sure to add that part, I have everything on my list, because I don't want to ask them if there's anything else and have them wonder like, oh my gosh, are we missing something? I reassure them we're not missing anything, but this is your opportunity if you have something really specific in mind. So a lot of the times their families will have maybe a picture that they redo over the years with their kids, like, the sister on the brother's back or something, or like everybody holding dad. I don't know. They can be really, I've had some very silly ones, silly requests just that they've been doing throughout the years. So that's a great time to do this. I've also had where like a mom and a daughter brought matching cowboy hats. And so they didn't want to wear them for the whole session, but they wanted just 1 or 2 shots of them in their matching cowboy hats. So this was a great time to do that. Probably 70% of the time, the family's like, no, I think we're good, because we do get a lot of variety in the session. But I do want to give the option just in case they had something on their mind that's really specific that we didn't get done. Now, another question that I always get when I share my posing workflow is, because I mentioned that I use this workflow for every single session that I do. Mini sessions, full sessions, does not matter. I use the exact same workflow. People ask, well, doesn't that get old if families come to you year after year and you're doing the exact same poses? The key here is the posing workflow acts as a guide that, yes, I know when I start, I'm going to do the whole family together. Now, how I pose them, what like base pose I use can change, and that can vary, and our location is going to be different, and the kids are older, that there are some that I'm going to redo, exactly the same, just like, of course, I'm going to get a picture of everybody standing together in a bunch, looking and smiling, but we can add a lot of variety so that each year it does look different. And especially if there's a client that's been with me for a while, I am extra, I pay extra attention to make sure that I'm adding more variety than I usually would in those like base poses. And that goes really well. I've never had a client complain that the poses were too similar or anything like that. It's always it's always been fine. So either way, I always use the same posing workflow, and it has just saved me so much heartache because I don't have to wonder what I'm doing next. It has become so second nature to me that it just flows so easily. And so if you don't have a posing workflow, I highly suggest implementing one, because I know that it's going to be helpful for you. Now, if you have any questions about my posing workflow, feel free to comment them below, and I would love to help answer them or point you in the direction of, a free class or some kind of resource that I have that may help, further your knowledge about posing and all the things. But I'm really excited for you to implement this in your next session, because I know that it's going to make such a huge difference, especially if you are not currently using a posing workflow. So with that, we'll go ahead and close out for today. I hope this is helpful for you, and we will see you back next week with another video. Bye, guys.